about issues in Africa with specific reference to Ghana. Ghana is in economic mess today. Ghana gained its independence in 1957 and put itself on the same economic trend like India, China, Pakistan, Korea, Taiwan. And today, all these countries have moved on, leaving Ghana behind. What is the problem with Ghana? Ghana has so much resources that it shouldn't be like it is today. But Ghana is having an economic mess. Ghana, today, most people living in the country would like to move out to make a living. Others living abroad would not even like to go home. What is wrong with Ghana? Ghana is in economic mess. The issue is who caused it and how did Ghana reach this stage that most people are prepared to move out. In the 1960s and 1970s, Ghanaians would travel and would like to come home. Some would go for further studies and would like to come home to help build the economy. But today, most people are leaving and they are talking so bad about Ghana's economy. Ghana is in a financial mess today. And Ghana's example, as we are going to discuss, will be an example for all developing nations that if they are not careful with all the resources Ghana has, they can also be in the same situation as it is today. The question is, who caused it and how the country went into this situation? There was a time I was listening to videos and also reading information on WhatsApp. And there is a WhatsApp site set up by Ghanaian intellectuals in Detroit metropolitan area in Michigan, United States. And they were debating among themselves who caused Ghana's downfall. Even though the people's own behavior can be a factor, but most of the time they in turn point out to their various government as causing the problem. An individual wrote, Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah is responsible for Ghana's economic mess today. All the problems Ghanaians are facing comes from Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, according to the writer. To him, Nkrumah spent money like bulldog, and he even gave 10 million pounds sterling to Guinea. He was a dictator and wanted to rule the whole Africa. So this individual considered Kwame Nkrumah and the source of Ghanaians' suffering today. Then I was also listening to videos on YouTube, and a lady was being asked about the problems of Ghana. The lady answered when the question came about Kwame Nkrumah. He said, Nkrumah moved too fast. Instead of him to move gradually, he moved too fast. He was too sure of himself. And that's why the country got into trouble. So this lady also has pointed out Kwame Nkrumah. Then I was still listening to YouTube videos where I saw Ghanaian TV personnel, radio personnel, going out interviewing people. And these people were young. And the interview, a question came, which of the government, since Kwame Nkrumah's time to Nana Addo Dankwa's time, is the worst government, and as a result, has led Ghana into its economic mess today? All the young people said, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government is the worst government of all. And as a result, he is responsible for Ghanaians suffering today. So they also pointed out that Nana Addo Dankwa's government, while others have pointed out Kwame Nkrumah's government. So based upon that, we went into research from Nkrumah's time to Nana Addo Dankwa's time to see which government and what process has led Ghana into this situation. Are we going to call Kwame Nkrumah someone who spent money like a bulldog, or he was a nation builder? As a nation builder, usually you have to look into the human capital of the society. And human capital, we can look into Egyptian civilization. Egyptians did not embark on imperialistic ventures in establishing that civilization which lasted more than any civilization ever on earth. They developed the human faculty, the human capital. So education in Egypt was so unique. The Greeks, intellectuals, such as the mathematicians, medical personnel, and philosophers, all went to Egypt to study. The Romans came from the Egyptians. And even the very people, the Jews, the Israelites, when they were going to Egypt, were just mere pastoralists. But in Egypt, they were educated. And when they were going back, we have people who could write, people who have skills to rule a nation. So they went back to establish a kingdom, and the knowledge was gained from Egypt. So Egyptians are well noted as scientists. Egypt is noted for its science. They built the pyramids with the knowledge of engineering, mathematics, and architecture. They also connected canals for agriculture. They farmed. They made paper out of papyrus. They were able to create mummies by the knowledge of biology, chemistry, and medicine. Imhotep, the chief medical practitioner, the great intellectual, built the pyramid, and he could make surgeries of the brain at that time. So the human capital of Egypt was developed, and that's why that civilization is unique. Confucius in China also developed the human capital, which eventually developed Chinese political system and the Japanese political system. Horace Mann in America also advocated for public education, and America embarked on strong educational program and eventually built their civilization. Every civilization has to look into building human capital. Did Nkrumah do that? Let's look at it. When Nkrumah came, he went to Accra, Lagos. The University of Ghana was a small college. He expanded it, and it became like any modern University. Then he went to Cape Coast. He established University of Cape Coast and stipulated that any student that comes out of Cape Coast University comes out with 2 degrees, which means you do your specialized area concurrently with education. So you can branch to your specialized area when you finish school, or teaching was given as automatic profession. That is to encourage teachers in the country. Then he went to Kumasi and established University of Science and Technology because he was thinking of building industries in the country for the future. So Ghana needs technical know-how. So he established University of Science and Technology. It did not end there. They established University of Developmental Studies in the North, Takwa Mining School, Professional Institute of Professional Studies in Accra. He went further. They established polytechnics, Accra Poly, Cape Coast Poly, Kumasi Poly, which was very nice for the country. He did not end there. He went ahead and established in the Winneba area, he established Advanced Teacher Training College, Specialist Teacher Training College, which is today the University of Winneba. Then also he went further to establish teacher training colleges across the country, like Asokori Teacher Training College, Akokere Teacher Training College, Commander Teacher Training College, on and on. So many teacher training colleges. And the reason for this is to develop teachers to help build the country up. Because for any country to be strong, needs a strong human capital. Then he went ahead establishing secondary schools. One particular thing about these secondary schools were boarding schools, Ghana nationals. The education that was set up included women. Women were highly regarded. And so there were specific schools set up for women, like St. Rose's, Ya Asantua Girls, St. Monica Girls. Then we have Wesley College Girls. We have the Holy Child, Infantsman Girls. They were all at the same level with all schools for boys, like in Infantsipim, Adisada. All these colleges, secondary schools, were at the same level. He made sure the mission schools and the governmental schools provided the same education and the same standard for everybody. Then those who were unfortunate not to go, but to work, he set up an avenue for them called the Workers' College. Accra Workers' College, Kumasi Workers' College. That is also to help those who will not be able to have the opportunity to go to the secondary school. At the base of education, Nkrumah made it free. In some areas, he made it free and compulsory. Then after setting up all these institutions, he made the higher educations free. Universities were free for everybody who qualifies to go to university. All the teacher training colleges were free. The base education too were free. What happened? The only area he gave parents some kind of responsibility is the secondary school. At the secondary school, parents were to pay for boarding and lodging. All other things were free. Now, Nkrumah doing this to develop the human capital of Ghana. Is this spending? It's a spending like a bulldog, or this is spending as a nation builder. Looking at the educational institutions, he was setting up these institutions not only for Ghana, but to be an example for the rest of Africa. Sometimes Nigeria also embarked on greater educational program, and they came to Ghana to hire teachers, and the Ghanaians follow up. And Nigerians today are the most educated people with more medical degrees and Ph.D.s in the United States as a minority group. When Gambia needed teachers, Ghanaians responded. Sierra Leone, Ghanaians responded. So more or less, the education he set up was not only to benefit Ghana, but also the neighboring countries. In so doing, we do not see here as Nkrumah spending money like a bulldog. This indicates that he was a nation builder. Every nation builder look into the human capital and develop it. Therefore, he set up an example to be emulated by all the subsequent leaders that will come after him. And today, it is a heritage to Ghanaians of their educational standard. Ghanaians are highly educated. Those who got the opportunity to go are highly educated. And it is an advantage for the country. So therefore, Nkrumah was not somebody who spent money like a bulldog, but he was a nation builder in these perspectives. Now, as a nation builder, he has to look into the economy. That is the most crucial area. Because to be independent is not only to be independent politically, but you have to be independent economically. And if you are independent economically, you really enjoy your independence. That's what America did, and America enjoyed its independence. And every nation in the world that went into some kind of subjugation or colonization, after independence, you have to develop your economy to be fully independent. So Nkrumah looked into the economy. Which area did he look first? First of all, he looked into the energy sector. And he went in for soft loan and built the Acheampong Dam. The dam therefore created a lake which is known as Volta Lake. And at that time, the Volta Lake was the largest water reservoir in the world. Today, it is among the 3 largest water reservoirs in the world. With the Volta Lake, irrigations can be constructed for farming, and also the lake for fishing, making agriculture complete. It developed hydroelectric power for the nation and sometimes for the neighboring countries. These will be used to manage all the industry that he was setting up. The mining industries and all other industries. Now Ghana has hydroelectric power to run its industries, which is a good thing. Then he moved another step. He negotiated with an Italian company to set up an oil refinery project in Ghana. And this is what today we call Tema Oil Refinery. Even though Ghana had oil, But the powers were not drilling Ghana's oil, but Nigeria has oil. And he knew it. And therefore, refining oil in Ghana would be beneficial not only for Ghana, but sometimes its neighboring countries. Nkrumah went further to establish the atomic energy. And in the atomic energy, he had a plan of nuclear. Ghana going nuclear for peaceful purpose. So he laid down the stone for the atomic energy and also the stone for the building of the nuclear power. But unfortunately, when he was overthrown in 1966, the nuclear power project went to the dogs and completely forgotten. So Nkrumah looked into the energy of Ghana so as to develop industries in Ghana. Then also, he went further to establish other companies in Ghana. In his industrial program, he saw that Ghana had bauxite, but the powers were not mining Ghana's bauxite, only a small bit of it. But he knew how Aluminium Smelting Company would benefit Ghana for its future. He negotiated with companies in America, and they came and established Aluminium Smelting Company, which became known as VACO. This was a good economic plan. Then at that time, the textile industries were developing. So Ghana went into this. This import substitution industries developed, which helped Ghanaian farmers in cutting production to have market at that time. So the cotton industries developed, and Ghana has textile industries to produce cloth for the country. Then also he went further to establish the geog companies, geog distilleries. So the geog companies, if we have a University of Science and Technology, in future these students will come out and develop it further. Ghana could produce radios and television. So if they can come out with modernized way of doing things, Ghana will really flourish in this economic venture. Then also, he looked into another sector, which is producing juices, and he established the Nsawam Adwejiri Cannery that could take care of producing juices for the country, like mango juice, pineapple juice. And also within that factory, they could produce gin like Bramsco aperitif for the Ghanaians. So they can have tomato paste, tomato puree from the factory. So Ghanaians will no longer import tomatoes from outside. And that was a good project for Ghana. And upon this, Nkrumah also looked into sugar production, and he set up Commander Sugar Industry and Commander Sugarcane Plantation. He also set up a Suchari Plantation and Akomu Plantation. All is to help produce sugar for the country. So he was setting up industries for the country, which he did. Furthermore, Nkrumah looked into other areas to develop Ghana. He moved into agriculture and established the Workers' Brigade. That is how to help the people to organize themselves. Nkrumah was setting up a mixed economy. a mixed economy system, because most nations at that time are moving towards a mixed economy. And therefore, there was no need for Ghana to start from rudimentary capitalism. So a mixed economy is a way to move Ghana faster. So the Workers' Brigade could produce things like tobacco for tobacco industries, so that those who smoke can get cigarette, but not too large to the extent of overproducing, but something minimal for the country. The brigade were also responsible in producing other agriculture products, so that was great. You also look into transportation. He got a soft loan and built the Tama Harbor. That to encourage import and export trade to support the Takoradi Harbor. He extended also railroad system, the road system, and built the Adami Bridge to connect Ghana and Togo. He continued to build other bridges all the way into Ivory Coast. And that was Nkrumah's plan. This was a great plan for Ghana. This was a great investment. He established GNTC, Ghana National Trading Company, to help distribute goods in the country. You also look into transportation and provided the Citra buses to help the comfort of Ghanaians traveling long distance. Nkrumah here was making investment for the future of the country. Then after all these programs, Nkrumah therefore looked into the financial sector, which is the most crucial thing in every nation. In the financial sector, he introduced Ghana Cedi as Ghanaian currency in 1965. When the currency was introduced, the value was 240 pesos to 1 pound, which means 2 cedis, 40 pesos to 1 pound. And as a result, it was 1-to-1 with the dollar. 1 cedi was equivalent to $1. So Ghana's financial position was so strong. And this is the work of Kwame Nkrumah. He did this for the Ghanaians. Here, therefore, ask yourself, was all this me spending money like a bulldog? His expenditure on industries was so amazing that he laid down the foundation for the future of Ghana. And at this point, I'm not seeing him as somebody who spent money like a bulldog. I'm also not seeing him as somebody who went too fast. Because within a short possible time, he has been able to give Ghanaians all this. Compared to the colonial period, they were there for so many years, but they could not provide these amenities for Ghanaians. But Nkrumah did for the future of the country. It is up to the future generation to come and take care of all this for further development. Therefore, Nkrumah's economic plan was so strong. He was leaving Ghana with a strong financial position. The Ghana currency was so strong, 1-to-1 with the dollar. And it was so strong with the pound. So Ghanaians have wealth. Their ancestral wealth was existing. They were wealthy. Ghana at that time could give loans to other countries. Even Professor Bougia said it. Ghana could give loans to other countries. So Ghana was not poor at that time. Like Nkrumah said, It is not Africa which is poor, but the Africans are poor, which means the people are poor, but not the land, because the land is rich. So he tapped the resources for the country. Therefore, Nkrumah laid a solid foundation for Ghana. While Nkrumah was doing all this, from educational point of view and economic point of view, the only area that he was criticized was political. He was criticized of being a dictator. In 1964, bombs were being thrown at Kwame Nkrumah. Places like Olongugo, a young girl was killed by holding a bomb to kill Kwame Nkrumah in public. So all these assassination attempts made Nkrumah to declare Ghana one-party state. That all of them should be in one party with one agenda towards Ghanaians' future. And based upon that, they call him a dictator. The Western powers, I know sometimes they will give you a name when you are preventing too much exploitation of your people. Excuse me to say that, but that is true. When you are doing too much for your people, preventing too much exploitation, they will give you a name. Mobutu Sese Seko ruled Congo Democratic Republic for over 30 years. He was a brutal dictator, but nobody calls him a dictator. But he ruled. But if you are doing much for your people, they come after you. If they are not able to get you, they call you something else. So Nkrumah was called a dictator by establishing one-party state. Now let us be cautious about dictatorship. Today, when everybody mentions the word dictatorship means evil. But dictatorship is a type of government. I'm not going to praise dictatorship as you heard me saying something about dictatorship. I'm not going to praise it, but I'm going to explain dictatorship. Dictatorship is not evil. Dictatorship is a type of government equally like absolutism. They rule by the kings. Authoritarian, totalitarian. Types of government like direct democracy, constitutional monarchy like Great Britain, Canada, Japan, and representative democracy like United States. They are all types of government. They are not systems of government. They are types of government. So dictatorship is one of them. Who created dictatorship? Dictatorship was created by the Roman republics, a civilization that has given so much to the Western civilization today. Created dictatorship. And why dictatorship was needed in a republic? In Roman civilization, when things are so bad, when things are so chaotic, they need a dictator. A dictator then have to come in, streamline things, and when things are done correctly, put in the proper way, the dictator hands over. Therefore, the republic did not want a dictator to stay there for life. But from time to time, they need a dictator to come to streamline things when society got into chaotic conditions. And when things are stabilized, then power is transferred back to the Senate of the Roman Republic. So the Roman Republic created dictatorship. Julius Caesar was the last and the greatest dictator, because during his time, Rome was almost getting into an empire. He came out with so many reforms, and then when the Senate saw that his reforms will make him stay there forever, they planned and they killed him. But his adopted son, Octavian, who later became known as Augustus Caesar, got into the struggle and took over power. And from that time, the Roman Republic fell, and Rome entered into an empire stage. He continued his father's reforms and added more reforms. And what he established gave the Roman Empire 200 years of peace, often called Pax Romana, a period of prosperity, peace, and higher development. It was a period that saw economic development. Even though he was a dictator, but sometimes we can have a benevolent dictator who can equally do things like democracy can do. We all know democracy is also not perfect, so dictatorship cannot be perfect. But dictatorship, a benevolent dictator, can also speed up things for the society. A dictator is not needed, but is only needed when things are in a chaotic conditions, and a dictator is called upon to streamline things. Here, therefore, we're not glorifying dictatorship, but it's a type of government which is temporal. It does not mean modern dictatorship like in Africa when they will come and kill people unnecessarily. That is not what a dictator is needed for. A dictator is to come and calm things down and hand over. Was Kwame Nkrumah a dictator because he established one political party? Let's look. The Greek developed direct democracy, the Athenian democracy. And even the Spartans had an assembly which was democratic. And looking at it, the Greek democracy did not have political parties, but they had democracy. What about United States of America? When America got independent, it adopted the Confederate system of government, which was taken from the Iroquois Indians who have practiced it before. And there was no political parties. Yet still America was democratic, and they could vote people to go to Congress. So the Confederate government fought to defeat Britain finally, and it became a republic in 1781-82. And the Confederate government made sure that people were elected to office. There was no political parties involved, but it was democratic. And when the Confederacy was not able to curb the Shays' Rebellion, they called for a constitutional convention. And the convention eventually moved away from Confederacy and developed federalism. In the first election of federal state, George Washington was voted to office, but there was only one group called Federalists. There was no political parties involved. There was only one political party. Are we going to say because there was only one political party, George Washington was now voted as a Democratic leader? And he ran for the second time, and he won without political parties. Political parties emerged in America because of the differences between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton over all major issues in America, and that brought the split. And therefore, in 1796, America tested political parties in its political system. So a society with one political party doesn't mean dictatorship. However, Nkrumah can be considered as a dictator by trying to curb all other movement. But did he have time to practice that dictatorship? Because within a short time, he was overthrown. And if it's time, Ghana still have an assembly, like the Greek Spartans, then that will not be 100% dictatorship. Therefore, Nkrumah was not 100% dictator, but it came as a circumstances of an attempt of killing him and also disrupting Ghana political system. So therefore, Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966. Are we going to say, based upon what he did he spend money like a bulldog? Or did he move too fast, which endangered or put Ghana in a critical situation? Upon all these analyses that I've made, Nkrumah was not just a mere dictator. He did not mean to rule Africa. That is an infantile idea. Establishing the African unity. The African unity, to you think is not good, but the Europeans have carved from African unity ideas. Today they have the European Union. It is good for them, but you think it's not good for you? And upon this, you're going to say you wanted to rule the whole Africa. That is not the issue. Nkrumah, therefore, was a nation builder. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, economically, has established mixed economy for Ghana. He did not start as a rudimentary capitalism. So he moved away from that. And if we do not understand mixed economy, we have to ask the Chinese why it has taken them 50 years to catch up with the rest of the world economically. So mixed economy is where every nation was heading towards. America practiced rudimentary capitalism in 1750s, and because of the slavery in the South, it was not fully practiced. But after slavery, America became a pure capitalist country in 1870s, 1880s, and 1890s. Getting to 1930s to 1940s, America was moving away gradually from pure capitalism. President Roosevelt was a progressive individual, and he moved America a little bit away from its capitalist approach to mixed economy. While Hitler adopted Social Security to pull Germany out of the Depression, then America also followed up, and Roosevelt established Social Security, a functional one. If you are doing something which is for collective use, the conservatives will always give you a name, so they call him communist. Then also, Woodrow Wilson established something for collective action. They call him idealistic. So if you have an idea that will help collectively, they will give you a name anyway. But he was able to establish. So America came to have welfare system, Social Security, a functional one, workers' compensation, unemployment benefit, and a whole lot of benefit for the society. And America was able to move forward. Today, America is about 80% capitalism and 20% socialism. A little mixed economy is good for the society. So Nkrumah has started from that. On February 24th, 1966, Nkrumah was overthrown by Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kwesi and Lieutenant General Oketechie Akwesi Amankwa Efrifa and General Ankara with the police officials. And they made Ankara the president of the country after overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. They did not touch Nkrumah's educational program, but the economy. What did they do? Immediately, they made the coup. IMF and World Bank came into the economy. We are not here to blame them. We are not coming here to play the blaming game as we have been doing all the time. Because you want to wear the crown. They will make sure you wear the crown. But first of all, you need spiritual power. So the Africans have juju. So that's their spiritual power. They need physical power. And they were military men, strong. So they have that. But to be able to wear the crown, you need 2 additional powers. You need money and you need weapons. That's where you will go to them for those 2 powers. And if you are getting it, you got to promise them. Promising them is not promising them like they are coming to steal from you. They are coming to take something legitimately. So the IMF and World Bank came into the economy. The first advice was devalue the currency and embark on privatization. These were the 2 advice given to the government by IMF and World Bank. These are agents of the former colonial powers. And so now you are surrendering your country under their control. And you got to play the rule. So playing by the game, they will give you their part. Upon this, they removed the head of Nkrumah from the city and devalued the city by 30%. So they get that part. 30% devaluation. So when they are buying things from you, you are devalued the currency by 30%. So they will gain that 30% before even buying. Then on the part of privatization, the government took resources from agriculture and industry and put it into militarization. When you are building the military, you have to think about buying armor cars, uniforms, weapons. And where are you going to buy these things? You're going to buy from them. So they will gain from you. So they move resources from agriculture and industries into military. So a free folk could boast and say, I made the kind of military like this. But you have to know, your own money for your future development has been moved away into building the military of Ghana. And the military of Ghana will help them because you buy the equipment from them. So Ghana's economy started to slow down. But later on, there was Operation Guitar Boys, who wanted to overthrow the government, led by Lieutenant Colonel Atta and Lieutenant Colonel Yeboah. In this operation, Lieutenant General Kotoka was killed. At the same time, General Nkrumah had involved himself in the corruption scandal. Based upon that, Oketechie Amankwa Efrifa, Lieutenant General, became the leader of the country, where he prepared the grounds to hand over to a civilian rule. So within a short time, there was election, and he handed over to President Kofi Abrefa-Bushia. So from an economic point of view, they have devalued the city, which has been the wealth of Ghana a little bit. The tree of wealth has been burned. Your ancestors' wealth has been burned, has been reduced by 30%, and it was handed over to Professor Bushia. Professor Bushia was a Western-trained individual from Oxford University. He was a professor at Oxford University. He knows better, and he was brought in. The Danko Bushia tradition has come to rule the very people who opposed Kwame Nkrumah. It seemed there was hope for Ghana. After Nkrumah, we are going to see a new episode where Ghana can move forward. There was hope in Professor Bushia, and he took over. Here come the IMF and World Bank again. Devalue the currency. What did Bushia do? He devalued the currency by 150%. Yeah. So now the value of Ghana currency became 2 cedis, 80 pesos to $1. This indicates that the wealth of the country, the tree of wealth, has been bent, but it has not been cut down. You have lost 180% of your value within a short time. And that is the work of IMF and World Bank to Ghana, reducing your ancestral wealth. Then Bushia was asked to embark on privatization, call upon trade liberalization. He did not do too much in privatization, so he was overthrown by Lieutenant General Kutu Acheampong, General Ignatius Kutu Acheampong, and General Akufu took over power from Kofi Abrefa-Bushia. And what aspect of the economy are they going to improve? Afrifa, Kotoka, and Nkrumah had moved Ghana away from mixed economy to rudimentary capitalism. And Bushia was also continuing with it. But when Acheampong came, he put a stop to that. He came with the idea of bringing Kwame Nkrumah, but it did not work, because at that time, Nkrumah went to the origin of life. And as a result, Acheampong continued to rule the nation. Did Acheampong do anything different? Did he do anything different? Yes. He continued with Nkrumah's mixed economy. He did not devalue the currency anymore. So he maintained the 2 cedis, 80 pesos to $1. So people will insult the Acheampong all the time as being immoral or whatever they will say about him, but he did not continue to bend the tree of wealth of Ghana. He did not embark on privatization. The Ashanti gold fields, Ghana has shares, 55%. He did not sell it. He maintained it. He maintained all the industries that were established by Kwame Nkrumah. Acheampong did that. But with Acheampong, there's one thing so spectacular. When Busia was about to leave office, he wanted to solve the unemployment problem of Ghana. And he foresaw that there were so many people who have come together without legitimate papers. So he called upon what they call Aliens Compliance Order. Those who did not have legitimate papers should go back and process their papers before they come in. So a lot of Syrians and Indians have to leave. When they were leaving, they left a vacuum in the trading center. Then one particular group that was affected was Nigerian Yorubas. These people were into trading. So Mokola was all full of Nigerians. These people came in without any paper, so they have to go back to their country so that they can only come in with legitimate papers. The Alien Compliance Order affected them, and they left, and there was a vacuum in trading sector. When it comes to trade in Ghana, we all know the voter people, the men don't trade. The northern sector, the men don't trade. Some Ashanti men like to trade, Kwawu men like to trade, Ghana men did not like trading. Fanti men did not like trading. So women filled that position. And when Acheampong came, he brought back Nkrumah rational system that led to control prices. And this control of essential commodities brought soldiers and the military into business, because there were always surplus, of which these people would sell to the women, and the women would sell it at a higher price. And it brought in what we call kalabule. This is what Acheampong was accused of bringing kalabule into the country. But Acheampong taught Ghanaians about Operation Feed Yourself. So Ghanaians have to feed themselves. If you have a house and you have some land, you have to feed yourself by developing it, having some garden behind. So everybody was producing food. Operation Feed Yourself. Then Acheampong also brought about the left-hand drive for effective transportation to be at par with the rest of the world at that time. Very now, what we see, Acheampong did not devalue the currency. He did not embark on privatization. He kept Ghana as it was. Though he was not a visionary, but at least he was able to maintain Ghana on a stable economy. The economy was not too great, but he has not bent the tree of wealth of Ghana. And as a result of ruling for 7 years, there was a palace coup, and Ekufu took over. At that same time, Jerry John Rawlings made an attempt to overthrow the government, and it was a failure. Based upon this, the junior ranks, led by Wachi Jan, released Rawlings, and they made him the chairman of AFRC. The AFRC came for a short brief in Ghana's history. For only 3 months. What did they do? Here we are not going to talk about the killing of 3 former head of states and the 6 additional high governmental officials. That would be another analysis, or somebody can take it and talk about it. We are about the economy. What did they do to help the economy? Over here, Rawlings and his people, because they were staying for a short time, they wanted trust from the people. So they emptied the stores. And sold the goods at control price. And within 3 months, they handed over to President Limann. The 3-month show emptied the stores and sold all goods at the controlled price, which means we are looking at Ghana becoming fair in terms of its distribution of goods. That's what they did. They did not do anything so massive because they stayed there only for 3 months. And election was conducted. President Limann took over from Jerry John Rawlings and came with his economic plan. President Dr. Limann took over after the 3-month show of Jerry John Rawlings. He even encouraged them to go for further studies, to come back to take over the government in future. He was the second president to declare himself a social democrat. Social democrat means he believes in welfare state, equally like Kwame Nkrumah. When Limann took over, there was much cry from IMF and World Bank for Ghana to devalue its currency. Even though at the black market, the currency was 5 to 1, but at the governmental level, it was 2 cedis 80 pesos to $1. Acheampong never changed the value, and he never devalued the currency. Limann seemed to be one of the most stubborn presidents to the neo-colonialists. To devalue the currency seems like it will be on his dead body. He refused to devalue the currency. He refused to do that and did not devalue the currency. Limann therefore sent his entourage looking for soft loan. How is he going to get soft loan? He wanted to develop Ghana, embark on privatization. He refused to embark on privatization. This guy was very stubborn. The goods had been sold by Rawlings government, so Ghana was lacking goods, but he maintained Ghana as it was. And even Alhaji Sheku Shagari of Nigeria gave Ghana 1 million worth of goods. We have to remember that. So Limann refused to embark on privatization. He kept Ghana shares in the various companies, and he maintained the companies as it has been maintained by Acheampong from Kwame Nkrumah. He did not go to the route of rudimentary capitalism, but he needed money. Ghana had cocoa, and the cocoa was in the forest. It had to be evacuated. He refused to evacuate the cocoa from the forest. What was the rationale of this guy's policy? That he was playing that kind of procrastination. He refused to evacuate the cocoa. So Limann here ruled for 2 years. And the same Jerry John Rawlings came to take over from Dr. Limann.